So this morning we have a treat in store, doing a deep dive into Charles Dickens, including a skit by some UUCCWC thespians. But first, I'd like to share with you these words by Reverend Bruce C. Taylor from his sermon on Charles Dickens, Unitarian. We like to claim historical figures as being one of us, as you use. In the books we give to newcomers, there's always a list in the back of all the famous people who've been Unitarian or Universalist, names as diverse as John Adams and John Dewey, Clara Barton, Florence Nightingale, and Fanny Farmer, Frank Lloyd Wright, P.T. Barnum, and Paul Newman. Why do we keep track? Some people might say that since we're on the outskirts of quote unquote respectable religion, we need to remind ourselves that we're legitimate. But I think it's healthy to know where we come from. We place ourselves in a long line of prophets, thinkers, and reformers in the stream of progressive religion, people who embody values that we share and hope to carry on. Charles Dickens belongs on this list. Quote, to begin with, there's no doubt about that. He's worth a sermon or a skit or a whole worship service because, as early Unitarian, he embraced many of the ideas that we care about, and especially at Christmas time. He's worth our remembering because Charles Dickens helped invent the very idea of Christmas as we know it. With the industrial age roaring ahead like a runaway train, old traditions being broken, and social ties being tossed aside, Charles Dickens saw just how much we need Christmas. Through his writing, he created an unforgettable image of Christmas as it was meant to be. An image that strengthens old traditions with a strong dose of compassion. So, without further ado, I now offer you this skit inspired by a UU World article by Doug Mutter, The Ghosts of Unitarian Christmas. Take it away, folks.
House with a good book. But then Scrooge's reading lamp burned out. In later months, when Scrooge looked back on the dreams he had had on Christmas Eve, because they were dreams, obviously, what else could they be? He usually blamed them on the pressures of his job, the cuts, the downsizing, the constant need to do more with less. Except once in a while, when he recalled them in more detail, he blamed himself and how insensitive he had been to the clerk at the discount store. It had been so out of character because he wasn't a rude person, really, most of the time, that he felt guilty about it almost immediately. Scrooge hadn't even meant to be in the discount store, or any store for that matter. Scrooge had no patience for large mobs of rash consumers who he considered the basest of people. But as luck would have it, Scrooge's reading lamp burned out, and he couldn't find a spare bulb anywhere. So there he was, parked on the grass at the extreme edge of the lot, then sonically assaulted by Jingle Bell Rock as he entered the Too Bright store, then jostled by panicked shoppers looking for whatever can't-miss toy the store had sold out of 2 weeks before. Bulbs, good, sensible, energy-efficient bulbs, not colored or flashing or suitable for the nose socket of a plastic reindeer, were hard to find. Then he waited in an endless line behind a woman whose 2 children wouldn't stop nagging for more and better presents. And then, just when he thought the whole ordeal was almost over, the clerk, an obviously exhausted woman wearing a forced smile, had the gall to wish him Merry Christmas. Yeah. That was the last straw.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You're going to need this.
Christmas. Did I say Christmas? Don't make assumptions about
My religion.
Happy Hanukkah, glad Yule, joyous Kwanzaa.
Bah humbug. Is there a law that says I have to celebrate something? Can't I just enjoy life? Why can't I? All you people, just leave me alone.
Ready? Okay, thank you. Back at home, the bulb worked. But the Pickwick Papers didn't seem as interesting as he had expected. So Scrooge scrapped the reading idea and tried going to bed early. That hardly ever worked, and he didn't think it was working tonight either. Every few minutes he opened his eyes and surveyed the darkened room. Then, on the back of his eyelids, he saw an odd green glow. When he opened his eyes, he saw a shimmering, familiar shape.
Marley?
Hey, good to see you, Scrooge.
Marley. You're a ghost.
Long time no see. No, there's no such thing as ghosts.
Marley and Scrooge had co-chaired the finance committee at their Unitarian Universalist church until Marley's death a few months before.
You're still a ghost.
Don't be silly. There aren't any ghosts. You know that. I'm something you ate.
No, I skipped supper.
Well, then that explains it.
Marley, you're dead. And translucent.
Can we just skip over this part and move things along? You have no idea how embarrassing this is for me. This is one of those Christmas Eve visitations. So I'm supposed to deliver a message. You know the drill. You know the drill. See, I'm gauzy.
You're translucent too.
Okay, there I am. I'm still gauzed up. You know the drill. 3 more ghosts, and they each teach you the true meaning of a Unitarian Christmas. Yada, yada, yada. Got it?
I guess. So you, a ghost, full-time or just a gig you pick up on Christmas?
Things are tight. You take the jobs you can get. Cuts it Intel, cuts it at
Wells Fargo, I
and
think.
Wells Fargo. Yes. Love to chat, but I gotta go. I have important things to do. Don't let them touch the endowment.
Fine.
As Marley faded into the woodwork, the voices of a UU choir filled the room, singing the words to an 1849 poem and Christmas carol written by Edmund Sears, pastor of the Unitarian Church of Wayland, Massachusetts. You'll find this in your inserts. Sing along with us. It came upon the midnight clear. Join with me, friends, as we sing the first verse. The singing ceased. Marley was gone, and the room was as still as stone. Scrooge was sure that in the bright light of day he'd come up with a rational explanation, so he closed his eyes and tried to go back to sleep. When he opened them again, a man in a dark Victorian suit stood at the foot of his bed.
I am the ghost of Unitarian Christmases past.
You are going to set off the smoke alarm. You're Charles Dickens.
It's the cutbacks. We've had to double and triple up on roles.
So, really, you're a Unitarian ghost?
We didn't just put, no, I'm sorry, that's your line.
That is.
I have enough.
We didn't just put you on those famous UU lists because you weren't a good guy, or you were a good guy, and no other church had a claim on you.
I was impressed when I met Channing and Emerson, and then I joined the little Portland chapel when I went home to London. But that's not why I'm here with you now. The mirage you see before you now is a group of Unitarians. Unitarians didn't just inherit Christmas from the Orthodox Christians. To a large extent, we invented it or reinvented it. For years, the Orthodox Christians didn't know what to do with Christmas. In England, Christmas looked more like Saturnalia than anything else. The actual caroling tradition was more like trick-or-treating than what we picture today. Rowdy mobs of the poor, the poor are always rowdy, would stand outside the houses of the rich and intimidate them into offering food and drink. The Puritans hated the idea so much that the Massachusetts Bay Colony would fine you for celebrating Christmas.
That darn ship. Who are those people? And who's that man dragging that tree?
We're in Cambridge, Massachusetts in 1832 in the home of Charles Dickens, the Unitarian minister and abolitionist. It's 7 years before he'll found the congregation in Lexington that's named after him today. Right now, he's bringing a tradition from his native Germany to America. This is the first Christmas tree in New England.
In a house.
It would seem fitting to celebrate this Unitarian tradition of Christmas trees with a song. The Ghost Choir will now sing the first verse of O Christmas Tree.
Out there's a man dipping a steel pen into an inkwell. It's Edmund Sears, another Unitarian minister. He sits writing, "It came upon a midnight clear in 1849.
I thought I heard a ghost singing that earlier.
Now, see there, a woman sits writing, there be Lydia Child, good friend of Margaret Fuller, composing Over the River and Through the Woods. And there is James Pierpoint, music director of his brother's Unitarian church in Savannah, playing a familiar jingle on the piano.
That's a jingle, all right. That's Jingle Bells. We're not responsible for Jingle Bell Rock, are we?
Not even a little bit.
By this point, you know what to do. The Ghost Choir will now sing in rousing chorus the first verse of Jingle Bells.
Wow, is that a rousing ghost choir? Now, another bit of history. When I wrote A Christmas Carol, I wasn't really recapturing the lost spirit of Christmas. I was conjuring it out of whole cloth. My Christmas wasn't about the birth of one sex savior. It was about the brotherhood and sisterhood of all people. It was about the compassion and friendship and family, universal values. Perhaps there are some members of the Ghost Choir who are familiar with values that mirror these today.
It was a Unitarian Christmas.
Now you're getting it.
And before Scrooge knew it, good old Charles had faded away and had been replaced with yet another ghost.
Custom change, custom change, custom change.
Fading, fading, fading.
There we are. Okay, custom change.
I know you.
The
You're...
ghost of Unitarian Christmas present.
Ah,
I'm here to show you a Unitarian midnight Christmas Eve service.
well, I've never been to one of those.
It's a beautiful ritual. Each person gets out of it what they bring to it, and a little bit more. That's how community works. This man over here is a UU Christian. The story of Jesus touches something deep in him. The fact that his fellow parishioners are here with him singing the songs of Christmas, it means the world to him. And over there, she has been part of this community since she was a girl herself. In her mind, 5 generations are here.
5.
Everyone, from her grandmother to her granddaughter, and some people wish they were here, like those people on Zoom.
They should be.
But they can't be.
No.
And like the store clerk, wearing the flaming chalice pin.
She's a UU.
You're
No.
surprised? You think clerks are all fundamentalists?
I didn't say that.
Hang on, quick change. Okay, here we are. This is a quicker change now. Okay. Quick change. That was a quick change, yeah. Okay. I am the ghost of Christmas yet.
Marley?
It's the cutbacks. Use a little suspension of disbelief.
Wayne, you're looking a little less green now. You're black.
My costumes keep on getting in my face. You're looking at my screen. Can we get on with this? What you see now before you is the future. I mean, it's a future, not the future. If it was the future, there wouldn't be any free will, which makes this whole exercise pointless.
Yeah.
In the future, the Unitarian Christmas, the Dickens Christmas, it's gone, over. There are sectarian types who think society is fighting a war on Christmas and feel oppressed. There are mirror image radicals on the opposite side who resent having a sectarian holiday forced on them. And then there are the multinational corporations selling chia pets and junk they make in China and running obnoxious ads to make people think that they want to buy that junk. And that's the Christmas of this future, and it sucks. And some little part of that is your fault.
Mine.
Got it?
Got it.
As the events of the evening recede into the shadows of the past, thin rays of sunlight awaken Scrooge at the bedroom window. Scrooge looks at the clock and realizes that he could still make it to a small Christmas morning meditation service and hastens to get there on time. Drinking coffee after the service is over, Scrooge introduces himself to the clerk, who just happens to be attending that morning's service. Scrooge apologizes for his callousness, which the clerk accepts with grace. As they depart, she asks him,
What should I wish you then?
Peace on earth.
Peace. You can't go wrong with peace.
and the ghost choir joins in one last carol. I heard the bells on Christmas Day. Sing one, sing all.
Let's give him another hand. So thank you so much for our thespians and to all the ghost choir for participating in that little trip into a modern day exploration of Charles Dickens. And we've shared some merriment, heard a little bit about UU history, and been reminded to lean into community, most of all, at all times of year. We end today's service and extinguish our chalice with Tiny Tim's simple and heartfelt prayer, a prayer that rings true to our UU principles and values. If you remember it, you can say it with me. God bless us, everyone. May you go in peace, believe in peace, and create peace. And may you know that you are blessed and held by the love that surrounds us all. Blessed be, and amen.